Today our topic is finding the area of composite figures. So we're going to go ahead and we will go through each of these three examples and we're going to basically answer these questions. The first thing we're going to do is figure out a plan to solve for the area of this entire thing, okay? Then we'll actually do that and then we'll execute our plan in the last step, okay? So first things first, we are finding the area of this entire figure. Now, I don't have a formula for the area of whatever this might be, okay? So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna split up our shape into two, potentially more shapes that we know how to find the area of, okay? So for example, in this one, let's say I'm gonna cut this right here, okay? So that splits this shape up into a rectangle and a trapezoid, okay? And I do know how to find the area of both of those things, so that is the reason. Now, you could have split it up here, okay, and then done this rectangle and this trapezoid. You are going to end up with the same answer at the end. Okay, so my plan then to find the area of this entire thing is going to be to find the area of my rectangle, and I'm going to add that with the area of the trapezoid, okay? So let's go ahead and let's do that. So let's go ahead and let's find the area of the rectangle first. Again, doesn't matter what you do first, but in my rectangle right here, the formula for the area of a rectangle is just simply base times height, okay? So if I look at what I've got here, my base is 5, because it would be the same on the top and the bottom, and then my height is 6. So 5 times 6 is gonna give me 30, all right? Technically this is inches squared since we are talking about area, all right? So that's not my final answer, that's just this part of my shape. I still need to go and find the area of my trapezoid next, okay? So the formula for area of a trapezoid is 1/2 B1 plus B2 times the height, okay? So B1 and B2 are always gonna be the two bases, so in this case, the top of my trapezoid and the bottom. All right, now we're gonna have to do a little bit of figuring this out, okay? Because the top of my trapezoid right here, I only know that this part is 7, and then I know that this part right here is 5, okay? So I need to add those two things together to get all the way across the top, which would end up being 12, okay? And then all the way across the bottom is already 15. All right, so for my B1 and B2, those are going to be 12 plus 15, okay? And then the height of my trapezoid, again, it's how far it is, distance between my two bases, so this distance right here, okay? Now, I know that all the way from top to bottom is 10, and I know that this part right here is 6. Okay, so that leaves only 4 more inches right here that would make this part and this part add up to 10. Okay, so the height of my trapezoid is going to be 4. Okay, so from here, I just need to plug that whole thing into my calculator, and I get that it is 54 inches squared. Okay, now, again, not the final answer. Final answer is the area of the whole thing. So in my plan, I said I was going to add those two things together. So 30 for the rectangle plus 54 for the trapezoid is going to equal, finally, 84 inches squared for my final answer. Right, number 2, we're again finding the area of this entire figure. We don't have a formula for area of an arrow-shaped figure, okay? So again, we're gonna have to come up with a plan to find the area of this whole thing. Again, split it up into shapes that you know how to find the area of. This one, I think it would be a good idea to split it up here. So then we have a triangle, and then we have a square. All right, so If I'm trying to find the area of this whole thing, we're going to add. So to find the area of my whole shape, I'm going to add the area of the triangle plus the area of my square. Okay, so let's find the area of my first shape. Let's find the area of the triangle first. That formula for area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. Okay, so in my triangle right here, my base, I need to know what it is all the way across the bottom of that triangle. Okay, I know that this part's 1.5. I know that this part right here is 4, and then this part is also 1.5. So if I add all of that together, I'm gonna get that the base of my triangle is 7, okay? And then the height, remember, is that vertical distance between the tip and my base. So my base here is gonna be 7, and then my height is gonna be 6, okay? So plug that into your calculator. Now that we have 1/2 times 7 times 6, that's gonna give me 21, and this is feet squared. Okay, and then for my square, area of a square, it's just a rectangle, so base times height, 4 times 4 gives me 16 feet squared. All right, and finally we're gonna execute our plan. We're gonna do the area of my triangle plus the area of my square, and I'm gonna get 37 feet squared for the area of this entire shape. Finally, example 3. This one is slightly different because now instead of finding the area of an entire shape, we're finding the area of the shaded region, okay? And if needed, we will round to the nearest hundredth, okay? So here's what I've got. I've got a square, and it says that all the sides are 8, and then I have a circle here in the middle. Okay, if I want to find the area of basically these corners of the square, instead of adding two areas together, I'm going to take this and I'm going to subtract. So the square is my bigger shape, so I need to do the area of the square. Okay, and then I'm going to subtract the area of the circle. That way, if I have the area of this whole thing minus the circle, it's just going to give me the area of those corners that are left over, that are shaded in, okay? So first things first, let's find the area of my square, okay? So area of my square, again, is just base times height. So 8 times 8 is gonna give me 64 centimeters squared. Okay, simple there, base times height, okay? Now for my circle, okay, formula for area of a circle is pi r squared, okay? We need the radius of this circle, okay? Remember, radius is the distance from the center to any point on here around the circle. Okay, so let's say I make this my radius, all right? All the way across my circle here, if I had the diameter, that would be equal to the side of the square. This would be 8, okay? So if my diameter is 8, then that means the radius of my circle has to be 4, just as half of whatever the side of your square is. Okay, so let's plug into that pi times 4 squared. And again, we're going to round to the nearest hundredth. So pi times 4 squared gives me about 50.27 centimeters squared. Okay, all right, and then finally, our area of the shaded region, we will do what we set out to do in our plan. Area of the square minus area of the circle. And we end up with 13 73/100 centimeters squared. And that would be our final answer for the area of the shaded region.